This is Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Good morning, everybody. 17 minutes after the hour. Hope your day is going along just fine. And I want to welcome onto the program a great author. Can't believe it. She's in her second book. And what makes her famous, M.L. Rowland, get to her website, mlrowland.com. But she spent 12 years, she's traveled all over the world, and spent 12 years, Big Bear, California, with 12 years in search and rescue. She's done everything. Hundreds of rescue missions, technical rope rescues, helicopter insertions, evacuations, of course, lost children searching, hikers, snowboarders, mountain bikers, criminal evidence, and the like. And I tell you what, ML, it's great to have you on the program. We have the sheriff's office in, and we've had the search and rescue in here, and I've been so impressed by the training that the search and rescue team does and works through every week. Every week they train, and we're fortunate in Jackson County to have 100% find rate, knock on wood somewhere. But they, all the other counties have banded together as well. And so when you reach that group of search and rescue, there's a certain camaraderie. I just want to congratulate you, thank you for your service with that, and then welcome you as an author. So it's great to have you.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks, first of all, for asking me to be here with you, but also thanks very much for your good words about search and rescue. And I do want to say that the vast majority of people who are volunteering their time for search and rescue don't do it for the kudos. They have their own reasons, community service, the need to contribute or give back to their community, but thank you for your thank you.
Well, it is. It's just a matter of going out and finding lost people and doing what it takes. And we've had some great stories on the program, and I'm looking for some great stories from you. And of course, now you've taken all this experience and put them into a couple of books. I mean, murder mysteries. The first one came out in January, 0 Degree Murder, and now this recent one, my goodness, just released, Murder Off the Beaten Path. So where do we start? How did you get the idea to put into your first book back in January? I mean, it's a perfect segue.
Well, first of all, let me give a little bit of background that I did spend a dozen years on a search and rescue team. This team in the mountains of Southern California, in Big Bear, as you said, was perfectly located for it was a magnet for the 30 million people in Southern California to come up and get themselves lost or hurt. And so our very small search and rescue team was very, very active. And, I know one time for a volunteer team, we had over 10 or 11 calls within a 2-week span of a holiday period, which, again, for a small volunteer search and rescue team was very, very busy. I was fortunate enough to belong to the team with my husband, so there was no marital discord resulting from us responding. We could respond together. We didn't have children in the home, so we weren't leaving anybody except dogs behind. So we were, it was a perfect situation for us to be able to respond to almost every call because we also owned our own company, and so we carried pagers 24/7, and so we were able to respond, to almost every single call. And so when the pager went off, almost every time we could respond, and that resulted over a dozen years to responding to a lot of different calls, a lot of different types of calls in a lot of different weather and terrain.
Well, ML, I grew up on mysteries, and one of my most famous, I didn't tell you this, but in Reader's Digest, drama in real life. And so all of a sudden, you're going to put these books, that's exactly what it is, right?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, I never confronted a murderer out on the trail, but a lot of the search and rescue protocol, the policies and procedures, a lot of the situations in which Gracie Kincaid, who is the heroine of these books, finds herself, a lot of the incidents are very were drawn very closely from my own experiences in the field, or those experiences of those people, my husband and those people on the team with me.
Right.
Not all teams are the same. Some are volunteers, some are paid, some are well funded by, say, the county budget or whatever, or the sheriff's department with whom they're affiliated. And some teams, again, operate on a shoestring. And even though our team was affiliated with the county sheriff's department, we in a lot of ways operated on a shoestring. And so that's the way the team that Gracie belongs to is depicted in these books.
Interesting. So, I mean, it makes perfect sense. And, of course, putting in a murder mystery, like you said, you never had that on the trail or up in a search and rescue active mission, but I can see where it would take a twist. So, well, this is great. ML, we have a break coming up, but
Okay.
the two books, golly, you could get into a series. I mean, Gracie Kincaid and all of the, I mean, I just love what you're doing here. So,
thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got ML Rowland, and you get to her website, mlrowland.com. There's a sneak peek on both of her books. You can check that out, and then you can order them there. They're also available on the web, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and then the Nook as well. So, we're just getting started. We got to get a quick break, though, and then we'll come back with ML Rowland and talk more about her two books, 0 Degree Murder and Murder Off the Beaten Path. And coming from a 12-year veteran in the search and rescue in Big Bear, California, I can only imagine what that entails. More on the Sunrise Show as we continue after this break. The Bloomberg Market Update is up next. You can catch the show streaming live on kcmxam.com. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We've got continuing with ML Rowland and her latest book, Murder Off the Beaten Path. You can get to her website, mlrowland.com. And ML, it's great to have you on the program. And tell us this first book, because Gracie Kincaid is the character. She's about in her 30s, and she's part of a mountain search and rescue team. And this 0 Degree Murder, tell our listeners how this book starts.
Well, it's sort of the beginning of a informal trilogy of books. They're all standalone books, but it starts relationships for Gracie that carry on all the way into book 3. She's called out on Thanksgiving Day for a group of missing hikers who are a part of a movie cast and crew, which includes hot British movie star Rob Christian, and who are missing in a nearby wilderness area. So it's already dark when she hits the trail with her teammate, Steve, and things begin to go downhill when the tracks that Gracie is following lead them off the side of the trail and down into a very steep canyon, where they find Rob Christian, this movie star, who's injured and hypothermic. And he remembers nothing of what's happened to the entire group. I think it was about 5 people, except that he remembers a lot of blood and that someone tried to kill him.
Wow.
So that's sort of the first maybe 20% of the book, and that starts this whole series of events where her teammate disappears and an early blizzard sets in, and she finds there's a murderer out there stalking her, and so there's a lot of the events sort of compound, and Gracie has to use all of her wits and expertise to keep not only herself alive, but Rob Christian alive against the snow and killer who is stalking them.
Wow. Well, the Library Journal wrote, this exciting, seriously good adventure debut deserves a place in your book carts. Spunky female leading the way, Rowland dishes out generous portions of adrenaline rush. Her adventure writing style has real flair, and you've been nominated for 2 Edgar Awards. That's on the first book, 0 Degree Murder. And I think what validates this, ML, is that we're talking about this earlier. You were spent 12 years as search and rescue in Big Bear, California. And ladies and gentlemen, you might remember this fugitive last year who kidnapped a girl, and then of course was diffused, and he ended up shooting law enforcement, killing one of the deputies in the L.A. area, and then running to Big Bear, California. It's just, of course, you're in Colorado now, so you were watching from afar, but
yes,
that was your old stomping grounds.
Exactly, and I do I have renamed everything in the book. I was advised by a pretty well-known author to change the names of the locations, but anybody that has ever been in that area knows exactly where that is. It is Big Bear Lake. I named it Timber Creek in the book, and in 0 Degree Murder, the wilderness area in the book is Mount San Rafael, and in reality it's Mount San Gorgonio. And so, so all of the descriptions and everything in both of these books are based on where the area where we actually lived and operated on the team, and so they're very, very closely depicted, realism-wise. I did as much as I could to make the book very realistic, even if it is a murder mystery.
Well, I'm sure you've woven everything in there. You just simply won't see what's not and what it is. It's amazing to me because we've had interviews with our local search and rescue team here, and people just get stuck places and they make a mistake. That's clear and evident. They don't have their GPS. I've heard they have their GPS and they never even took it out of the package.
Right.
So
and here's another thing that is sort of sometimes can be a fatal mistake, is that people rely on technology too much. They rely on their GPS. They rely on their cell phone to get them out of trouble if they get into it. And GPSs, if you get into a deep canyon or into a canopy of trees, you can't get a satellite read. Your cell phone can fail, especially if you're out in the boonies somewhere. You don't have cell phone coverage. Your batteries can die. You can drop it. I mean, there are so many things that can happen, and so it's a big mistake to rely solely on your technology and not bring a map or not know exactly where you are.
Wow. Well, I'm sure your experience is, great. I can't wait to get my hands on these things and check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, ML Rowland, she's got her first 2 books out. Get to her website, mlrowland.com, and her first book came out in January, 0 Degree Murder. Her next book just came out in October, Murder Off the Beaten Path. They're all available either on the web, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and of course available on the Nook as well. ML, it's great to have you on this morning.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, no kidding. It's going to be great, and can't wait for, it's just, like I was telling you earlier, perfect time to get in front of the fire with a nice, cozy book, right? And a cozy, perfect. All right.
And I'm going to put a little plug in here. They make great stocking stuffers. It's already getting to be Christmas season. They're only $7.99 each. That's $16
for
my
2 gosh,
books, and that's a lot of reading, I think, for only $16.
Exactly right. All right, ML, thanks so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a quick little break, and then we'll be back. More on the Sunrise Show right here on KCMX News Radio 880.